I was doing so many things in that Excel file. You can check it. See, this everything was explained by taking some examples, by doing some working. Anyway, no worries. That happens. So, did you get it or what? I mean, did you face any problem while understanding whatever I was saying? Anyone having any query? Yes, Arihan, please let me know if you have any query, if you couldn't understand anything.
No query, sir.
Fine, fine. Sorry. I was doing it over here. All the workings which I have done, no, was there in the Excel file. I was writing since last 5 to 10 minutes, and you are no, no, sir, it was not visible to us. Anyway, no worries. So let me just give you the brief idea again in a minute. Right? So there has to be a specified rate on which the income tax has to be paid. That would be the rate of income tax, right? Now that depends on short term and long term. Now, how do you identify whether the particular asset is short term or long term? What is the need of identifying that in a short term and long term? The need is that generally you don't get the indexation benefit in the short term capital gains. You get the indexation benefit only in the long term gains. Yes, there are rules and regulations. We are going to see that. So that's why we are supposed to find the short term and long term. Number two reason is that the rate of taxation is also different for the short term and long term gains. Right? Now you have understood what is the indexation benefit too. And the indexation benefit was explained by me in this file, but that's fine, no worries. You were not able to see that. So indexation benefit is nothing but adjusting your cost of capital asset with inflation. So that's the indexation. Once this logical framework is clear, then we can move to short term and long term capital gain. Okay. So let's go over there now. I hope it's visible to everyone. So one thing I have said, generally the criteria applicable to identify whether it's a short term or long term is 36 months. So 36 months of the holding period. Understand the word clearly? 36 months immediately preceding the date of its transfer. So whatever the date of transfer we have taken, before that, if that asset was under the custody or that was held by an assessee for 36 months, then it would be called as the long-term capital gain. Otherwise, it would be called as a short-term capital gain. But again, I'm clarifying this. This 36 months is not applicable in the blanket manner to every asset. It's different from asset to asset. 36 months is the general one. There are certain exceptions to it. What are those exceptions? Let's see that. Number one exception. Everyone, please read it along with me. A security other than a unit listed in a recognized stock exchange or a unit of an equity oriented fund or a unit of the unit trust of India or a zero coupon bond will however be considered as a long term if the same is held for 12 months immediately preceding the date of its transfer. That means if it is a below mentioned securities, number one, the recognized stock exchange, the shares, the securities which are the listed in the recognized stock exchange. There are two recognized stock exchange in India. One is NSE, another one is BSE. So all the securities which are listed in the recognized stock exchanges, if they are traded in recognized stock exchanges, either BSE or NSE, for them the criteria of 36 months is not applicable. For them it's 12 months. So that means if some certain listed shares are there with you, you have hold it for more than 12 months, then it would be a long term capital gain. It won't be a short term capital gain. If the shares are there which are not listed, then they are not being covered over here. It is only for the listed. Please understand the words and mark the words appropriately. It's listed in the recognized stock exchange. So if the shares are not listed, yes, there is a possibility that the shares might not be listed too. There are private companies where the shares are not listed. But obviously private companies में भी ownership के लिए shares ही लेने होते हैं. They are not listed. One person can transfer his or her holding to another person after taking the permission from the other stakeholders. There is also a transfer. तो उसके लिए क्या करेंगे? करते हैं, नीचे है ना हमारे पास. So please understand what are the things falling in this bracket. Number one, securities listed in recognized stock exchange. I'm using the word security, not shares. Or a unit of an equity oriented fund. Now again, the question which may get raised in your mind, that what is the equity oriented fund? Can any mutual fund can be called as a equity oriented fund? What is the distinction between the equity oriented fund and the debt oriented fund? We are going to see that. नीचे ही है definition, we are going to see that. Or the unit of UTI, Unit Trust of India, or a zero coupon bond. So if zero coupon bond you have, then 36 months will not be applicable, it would be 12 months. So if you hold it for 12 months, it becomes your long-term capital asset. If it is lesser than 12 months, it becomes your short-term capital asset. Right? Let's move to the second para. Everyone start reading this along with me. Further, a share of a company not being the share listed. Now it is only for the share. Put the words in your mind. Income tax plays with the words. And specifically those people who are appearing the examination of ICAI, they play with the word. It's a share. Security includes the share, but security also includes the debt instruments. Security is a broader bracket. Share is just a share, which is an equity share. So securities will also be listed. Debt instruments are also listed. Corporate bonds are there. They are a security. Government bonds are there. Listed security. I hope that's clear in your mind. So in the first one, it's a security. In the second one, we have a share only. It's not about the security. So I can say it's unlisted shares. So unlisted share is the terminology I can use here. Or an immovable property. So immovable property can be land or building, or any permanent structure attached with land or building, which cannot be moved from one place to another place. Now for that, we have the criteria of 24 months, immediately preceding the date of its transfer. So when you are transferring that asset, before that it was held by you for 24 months or more, it becomes long-term capital gain. Otherwise, it would be a short-term capital gain. So let me give you the example. If a listed debt instrument is there, then can someone give me what is the criteria to identify long-term and short-term? Listed debt instrument. When I say debt instrument, it's a corporate bond. Can anyone tell me? May I have an answer from anyone? I hope you have understood my question well, first of all. If it is a listed debt instrument, a corporate bond. Now, corporate bond is something which is a security, yes or no? And if it is a security, first you identify whether it is listed or not. Just a second. Where is your material? I need to. Here I have. Okay. Have you understood my question, all of you? May I have some interaction, please? If the unlisted share is there with you, if the listed debt instrument is there with you, what will be your holding period through which you will be identifying whether it's a long term or short term? Sir, it's a listed. In listed, there is a one word called security is been given. So security includes the debt instrument. So if it is a debt instrument, then it's 12 month only. So more than 12 months, it's a long term. Lesser than and equal to 12 months, it's a short term. Clear? For all the immobile property, if you are selling, say for example, the land or a building, it's 24 months. Unlisted shares, it's 24 months. Unlisted corporate bonds, it would be 36 months. Because here in unlisted exception category, it is just given to you that it's a share. So unlisted share, it's 24 months. But unlisted corporate bond, it's 24 months. Sorry, 36 months. Right? So that's how it would be. Let's move ahead further. In a nutshell, I can say, you can check it over here, please. Here we have the chart. If a security listed in a recognized stock exchange, here we are using the security, right? It's a 12-month criteria. Unit of equity oriented fund, unit of UTI. आपने यूटीआई के पे अंदर कुछ यूनिट्स आपने इन्वेस्ट करके रखे हैं, यूनिट ट्रस्ट ऑफ इंडिया के यूनिट्स है आपके पास, देन ऑल्सो इट्स अ 12 मंथ. इक्विटी ओरिएंटेड फंड है, इक्विटी ओरिएंटेड फंड की एग्जैक्ट डेफिनेशन अब देखने वाला है. और इट्स अ जीरो कूपन बॉन्ड. Zero coupon bond conceptually you are aware about. Then you will apply straight away the 12 months criteria to identify whether it's a long term or a short term. Okay, what are the assets which are falling in 24 months criteria? First one is the unlisted shares. If it is unlisted debt fund security, then it will go in the 36 month. 26 month is applicable only to the unlisted shares. There could be some other securities as well rather than shares, you know. And land and building. For land and building and the immobile property we have, the criteria is 24 months. And all other capital assets which are not falling over there in this two, the first two we have discussed would be automatically falling in 36 months criteria. That means over there you will have to identify whether it was there with you for 36 months or not. Shall I ask some question to you based on this now? I would be randomly asking some question. Any one of you can give me the answer. Say if you had a residential house property, if you are selling it, what will be your criteria to identify long term or short term? How many months will it take? Can someone tell me?
24 months.
Say if you had the shares of Babulal Limited, shares of Babulal Limited not listed, how many months? Shares of Babulal Limited not listed. Not listed, I am using the words.
12 months.
24.
24 months. अनलिस्टेड शेयर है, बाबूलाल ने अभी तक लिस्टिंग नहीं किया है एनएससी और बीएससी में, तो शेयर्स है तो 24 मंथ्स गया. अच्छा, कॉर्पोरेट डेट नॉट लिस्टेड, हाउ मेनी मंथ्स? कॉर्पोरेट डेट माने कि कॉर्पोरेट बॉन्ड नॉट लिस्टेड. एनीवन?
36 months.
Absolutely correct. 36 month. Corporate debt listed security, then
12 months.
12 months. Very true.
12 months.
Very true. A zero coupon bond, how many?
12 months.
12 months.
Very true. Now this short term and long term application and the criteria of it depends on the type of asset. That is the one thing we have understood from this, right? Okay. Now once we identify whether it's a short term and long term, then we are moving to what will be the rate applicable and on what the rate is to be done. So there has to be some calculation. Now here again I am clarifying this percentage of tax whatever the percentage, 10, 15, or whatever the percentage is there, is on capital gains, is not on the sale consideration. It's not on sale consideration. Please put it in the back of your mind. Sale के ऊपर नहीं है, capital gain के ऊपर है. So sir, there has to be one format as well, na, to find what is the capital gain, how the capital gain is calculated, what are the things you need to deduct, how do you give the indexation benefit. That format will be able to understand only if we first identify the short term and long term, because for short term and for long term, for both of them, the format is little different. That's why first short term and long term. Okay, so now let's go to the tax rate applicable. Understand this, please. Now we are into a rate of taxes. Now first let's understand what is the rate of tax for the short term gains. So short term capital gains arising on the transfer of listed equity shares, units of equity oriented fund, and units of business trust is 15% if the STT has been paid on such sale. STT stands for Securities Transaction Tax. And obviously all the dealings which you have been doing through the exchanges, STT is always been paid on it. Securities Transaction Tax levied by the government of India is always been charged on all the kind of dealings you are doing through the exchanges. So for short term capital gain, there is a flat taxation rate, that is 15%, applicable to which assets? Listed equity, units of equity oriented fund. Equity oriented fund we'll discuss in some time to come. What is the exact meaning of equity oriented fund? We'll go to that. Or the unit of any business trust, but it has to be on which the STT must have been paid. So if the units of business trust are dealt through the recognized stock exchanges, and if the securities transaction tax has been paid on it, then also it would qualify in the 15% criteria. So when I say 15%, that means that's something which is a flat taxation rate. All other incomes will be calculated differently, and on this income you will straight away pay 15%. Along with that, some other things are also given. Short-term capital gains arising from transaction undertaken in foreign currency on a recognized stock exchange located in International Financial Service Center. Now, International Financial Service Center is situated near to Gandhinagar, Gift City. And in Gift City, this government has established IFSC, that is International Financial Services Center. Now what happens that some foreign companies might establish their business units in the Gift City, in the International Financial Service Center. And if they are selling the stake of one company to another, then how the taxation will be charged on it? Now there are certain exemptions given. If those transactions were undertaken in foreign currency, not in Indian currency, લેવડ દેવડ અગર બહારની કરન્સીની અંદર થઈ હોય, કેવા ટ્રાન્ઝેક્શન હોઈ શકે કે એક બિઝનેસ યુનિટ છે બીજા કોઈને સેલ કરી દીધું અને બીજી એ જે કંપની છે એને ટ્રાન્ઝેક્શન કેમાં પે કર્યું છે, અમાઉન્ટ કેમાં પે કર્યું છે? સર એ અમાઉન્ટ છે ફોરેન કરન્સીની અંદર પે કરેલું છે, માઇટ બી ડોલર્સ, યુરોઝ ઓર એની ફોરેન કરન્સી. Then again a 15% rate would be charged, and even though STT is not paid on it, so on that the STT requirement is also not mandatory. Securities transaction tax, even if it is not paid, then also it's fine. There would be a 15% of a tax rate. So all the capital assets which are not falling in this criteria. So what are the assets which are falling? Number one is the listed equity share. Number two, units of equity oriented fund. Number three, unit of business trust. Number four, any short-term capital gain because of any foreign currency transaction which has been undertaken in IFSC, Gift City. Then there would be a 15% tax. Other than that, it would be charged in a normal tax rates. So that means it will become the total income, gross total income, and based on that, the normal tax rates, which are slab rates applicable to the individuals, will be chargeable. So normal tax rate slabs we have, right up to 250, we are not supposed to pay anything. From 250, we have two options over there too. Since last budget, we have got the option of, taking the rebate too. So टैक्सेशन रेट्स द नॉर्मल, मतलब अभी क्या हुआ कि फ्लैट टैक्सेशन रेट अप्लीकेबल नहीं है, तो बाकी जो भी स्लैब रेट्स है उसके अंदर हमें अभी नहीं जाना है, वो बाद में देखते हैं. Okay, so one thing which you must be able to understand, must be there in the back of your mind: short term capital gains on the capital assets. Number 1, listed equity shares. Number 2, equity oriented fund. Number 3, business trust unit. Number 4, foreign currency transaction in IFSC, 15%. All other short term capital asset would be a normal income, whatever the normal tax rate slabs are there on which you will have to pay the tax. Absolutely clear? Now this is, technically little difficult to implement and understand right now, but once we'll go into the sums of it, it would be quite easy for you to do it. Don't worry, right now it looks like, sir, so many information, so much of a comprehensive information we have here. Are we supposed to remember every of this? But once we'll do the practical sums of it, then you will be able to identify that, sir, whether it is a listed or not listed, what kind of a tax needs to be charged, whether it's a long term, short term, you'll get it. Don't worry. So once the short term is discussed, let's move to the long term capital gains. Again, a long term capital gains tax and the rate on it is dependent on the type of asset. So let's move to the type of assets first of all. Now these are the general types of assets. We'll go to the exceptions later on. Okay, so if the unlisted securities are there, when I say unlisted, that means they are not listed in recognized stock exchanges, NSE and BSE, or a shares of closely held company. So there is a definition given by the Income Tax Act for the closely held company. We are not going into so much of technicality right now. Let's just understand it. Closely held company माने के the parent company is effectively having the too much of control over a company. Now there is a criteria given for the too much of control. Whether you hold 80%, 90% of the holdings of the company, then you can say it's a too much of control. So let's not go into the technical definition, but understand this. The closely held company माने के the company which is run by a parent company, and the parent company enjoys the too much of rights and too much of control over that closely held company. And if those shares are transferred, then what will be the rate of tax? Now we are into a long term, please put it in the back of your mind. So it again depends on the type of assessee. If the assessee is a non-corporate, non-resident, non-corporate माने के it's not a company, so any other assessee can be there. It can be a partnership firm, it can be individual, it can be any other assessee, or it's a foreign company. Then 10% would be the long-term capital gain, but without the benefit of indexation. Indexation benefit, that is the inflation benefit we are giving, will not be given. And the currency for fluctuation benefit will also not be given. If foreign company transfer the share of the closely held company to someone, then they cannot say that at that time when we had purchased the share, the foreign currency was 75 rupees per dollar. Right now it is 85 rupees per dollar. So let us give the advantage of this currency fluctuation too. No. 10% without currency fluctuation advantage, without indexation advantage, even though it's a long term in nature. For other assessees, it's 20%, as simple as that. And other assessees will also get the indexation benefits. This is for unlisted securities, right? The securities which are not listed in the recognized stock exchanges. Then it comes the listed securities and a zero coupon bond. For them, you have the two benefits, two alternatives. One alternative, 10% tax needs to be paid. Tax on what? Tax on capital gains. 10% tax needs to be paid, but you won't get any benefit of indexation. That means the inflation benefit you will not get. The cost of your security will not be adjusted to current inflation. Straight away 10% you will have to pay, or so you have an option now, alternative, or 20% if you are availing the benefit of indexation. If you want to take the benefit of indexation, then it would be 20%. Now this is based on the choice of a assessee. Assessee may opt for a 10% without benefit of indexation, 20% with the benefit of indexation. Whatever the option is more feasible, or more advantageous to them. And other assets which are not covered will be straight away having the 20%. So obviously the land and building will be having the 20%, and all other assets which are not covered over here will have the 20% slab. Now there is one more specific exemption, this one. Now if someone has got the capital gain which is more than 1 lakh, which is a long term in nature, now the asset in the question might be a listed equity share or a units of equity oriented fund, and if the STT has been paid on it, then LTCG would be 10%. Right? So if one person has made a gain of more than 1 lakh rupees from a capital gain and it's a long term in nature, then you first identify, check it out that whether it was listed or not. If it was a listed equity share or it was a unit of equity oriented fund and STT has been paid on it, then you will have to straight away just give 10%. This is the concessional rate. Now otherwise, if this provision was not taken a place, then the listed shares were falling here, 10% without benefit of indexation or 20% with benefit of indexation. So effectively it's the extension of this second category only. That means if you have made a gain of more than 1 lakh, then 10% would be the long term capital gain tax you will be paying, not 20%. अदरवाइज इट वॉज 20, नो. तो ये तो क्या हुआ मालूम है कि जो ज्यादा गेन करता है ना उसको 10%, जो बेचारा कम करता है उसको 20% पे करना हुआ. देखो यही इफेक्टिवली मतलब हुआ ना. आपके पास इक्विटी शेयर्स है लिस्टेड, ऑब्वियसली जो भी लोग आज ट्रेड करते हैं वो लिस्टेड में ही करते हैं, रिकॉग्नाइज स्टॉक एक्सचेंज में ही करते हैं. और आपने 1 लाख से ज्यादा गेन किया और आपने 12 महीने से ज्यादा वो सिक्योरिटी रखी थी, तो 12 महीने से ज्यादा रखी तो वो लॉन्ग टर्म हो गई. 12 महीने से ज्यादा रखी, आपने 1 लाख का के ऊपर का गेन किया तो आपको 10% पे करना है. 1 लाख का नीचे का गेन किया है तो आपको 20% पे करना है, and you will get the indexation benefit. Over there obviously you have the two options. If you go for the 10%, then you won't get any benefit of indexation. To identify short term and long term for listed securities, you must be able to recall that it's 12 months, right? So along with this only, you can just put a note in your book that if the gain is more than 1 lakh and if the security is the listed equity share or a unit of mutual fund, equity oriented fund, then it would be 10% instead of 20%. So there are various complications when it comes to application of rates of taxes. Now rates of taxes, if I in a nutshell, if I just give you the idea about all the things we have done, it is dependent on the type of asset. First of all, it is also dependent on the number of periods, a number of years, months for which it was held. So first identify whether it is a short-term capital gain or it's a long-term capital gain. How to identify that? Sir, for that we'll have to first identify that what is the asset, whether it was hold for short term or whether it was hold for long term. If it was hold for a short term, then what will be the rate? And if it was held for a long term, then what will be the rate? Once you clear this in your mind, then we'll be able to solve the practical questions of it. So in the next session, I would take just randomly few of the examples, and we will see that we'll try to identify that what particular rate needs to be applicable in which situation. प्रैक्टिकल क्वेश्चंस तो शुरू बाद में ही करेंगे, लेकिन हमें पहले एग्जांपल्स हम ऐसे लेंगे जहां पे ऐसे क्लियर हो जाए थिंकिंग प्रोसेस कैसे शुरू होना चाहिए. विच असेट इज दिस? इफ दैट असेट is equity share, then what is the number of months criteria? If that asset is a land or a immobile property, what is the number of periods criteria? Once you identify it's a short term and long term, then identify what is the rate applicable. So those kind of a situations we are going to see in the next lecture, right? So you can download this material from your income assist ICI website too. Otherwise, if it is a problematic for you, I would also give this, no worries. I mean, if you want me to give this material to you, then also it's fine. I'll upload it in your Google Classroom. Google Classroom is not created yet. I would upload it in your portal. Now there is a reason why I haven't created the classroom yet, because there is a possibility that because of my occupancy, there would be another faculty member for this subject from the next week, because I would be occupied in some other tasks. That's why. So that's why I haven't created it. It's not like I didn't want to create. Don't worry. So any queries till now? Anyone who couldn't understand anything, just let me know. Otherwise, you can just put your attendance and you may leave from the class. We will also draw one chart in the next lecture where, in a chart it would be clear everything. What rate at what situation, what is the criteria for long term, short term, everything will prepare in a chart. So it would be a crystal clear. Okay, bye bye, take care, sayonara. Just put your enrollment number and that's it from your side. So it will be a mark of your attendance and you may disperse from the class. Take care, sayonara. See you all in the next session.